Hey everyone, welcome back to the Movie Couple channel. I'm Wendy and here is my non-spoiler review for Imaginary. Roger, an imaginary friend created by Amanda to share her make-believe adventures with, suddenly finds himself alone. He arrives at the town of Imaginaries, where forgotten Imaginaries live and work. There, Roger faces a mysterious threat that puts the Imaginaries in grave danger. This is the latest animated feature you can find on Netflix. It's streaming, so you don't even have to go to the theater. You can just watch it straight from your house. And if you saw the trailer, you will notice immediately that the artwork and the art style very much resembles those of Studio Ghibli. Well, that's because the director for this film, Yoshiyuki Momose, is actually the animator from Spirited Away, which is a Studio Ghibli film. Which honestly, that's what captured my attention right off the bat when I first saw the trailer. I was like, oh, this really resembles and feels very inspired by Studio Ghibli, and now we all know why. So the story here is based on essentially Amanda and her imaginary friend Roger, and obviously when you're an imaginary friend or when you have an imaginary friend, no one else can see them but you. And I love how the film really establishes that right away. Amanda sets some, rules about if Roger were to, maybe they were in a public place or at a school, Roger wouldn't be able to talk to her because then she wouldn't be able to talk back because other people would kind of be like, well, who's she talking to herself? And also I like that they set the rule that imaginaries can't go through walls, they can't open doors, they can't physically interact with our world, although it's interesting because I do see Roger trying to avoid other humans, so I wonder why that was, but I do find that interesting that that is one of the rules that they set for this movie. The best thing about doing an animated feature based on imaginary friends and your imagination is that you can put pen or pencil to paper and you can draw anything. This film is so vibrant. Amanda has a very vivid imagination and she's built this whole world of what her make-believe adventures would be like, and they can go underwater into space. There's different creatures. There's different sort of planets. It's really cool to see, and I'm gonna compare this and the way they did like the imaginary friends, all the other imaginary friends or imaginaries, to another imaginary friend movie that we saw earlier this year in the States, If. Now, If, very different. The premise is very similar, but one is live action, one is animated. So I think with live action, it's always going to be, you're going to be limited to what can be done as far as CGI special effects go. And there is a lot that can be done. If you saw the film, looked really, really great. But with animation, you can have a crowd of imaginaries. It's whatever you can think of. They can be weird and abstract. And that's what I really enjoyed about this movie, getting to see all the different imaginary friends. So there is a heartwarming story about why Amanda created Roger and sort of like his purpose as her imaginary friends. And it goes deeper into just going on make-believe adventures. And it's also a story about grief, loss, and healing through your imagination. One of my favorite things about Japanese animation and their stories is that they're not afraid to go dark, and they're not afraid to go really, really outrageously, make it really weird. So in this film, Roger, like I mentioned in the synopsis earlier, does find himself alone. And he's thinking, I have been forgotten. Amanda doesn't need me anymore. So he travels into the town of Imaginaries, where essentially all the forgotten Imaginaries sort of gather, live, and work. Roger starts to make new friends, and you're trying to see him overcome the sadness that he is being forgotten and how he's coming to terms with that. But there's also a threat. There's a mysterious guy and a younger girl who are targeting Roger because because Amanda's imagination is so vivid. They are very attracted to essentially, her imaginary friend. So they've targeted him. And when I said earlier about how Japanese animation isn't afraid to go dark, and I don't mean like killing and blood, like that's not this kind of movie, but the characters look scary and dark. Like the little girl looks like she came out of the Ring movies. So now essentially you have this mysterious and powerful duel that seems to have some sort of magic and fantastical powers. And you have Roger, and you're set in a world full of imagination and imaginaries. So the animation and how wide this world expands, it's so cool. Essentially, it's kind of like whatever one can imagine, you can use that as a tool. You can use that as something to help you fight, or for our antagonist, it can be used to capture Roger. Gorgeous animation aside, I really like this story a lot. It talks about healing through imagination and how you can never get too old to have imagination, that it's okay to feel grief and loss. And this movie has a very heartwarming end. This movie is definitely worth checking out. If this was in a theater, I can just already see it. All the gorgeous animation playing on screen. I actually wish they would have put it in theater for like 2 weekends or something like that, because it would be really gorgeous to see that world come to life on the big screen. The film is available in English dubbed or in Japanese with English subtitles. I ended up watching it in Japanese with English subtitles because that's how I usually like to watch my Japanese animation, but that's just a personal preference. You can watch it however you would like, and there's tons of options available. And naturally, if you are a fan of Studio Ghibli films, Miyazaki-style films, you are definitely going to want to take a look at this movie. Definitely check it out. And again, it's going to be on Netflix, so you don't have to go anywhere. Those are my thoughts on the movie Imaginary. Let me know your thoughts once you've seen it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.